Good morning, welcome back to Sage and Stone Homestead. My name is Heather. So depending on the time of year and depending on what exactly is happening on our farm in any given season, my chore schedule changes. So those of you that have been around the farm for a while and around the channel for a while, you can probably hear that my voice sounds like I just woke up. It's because I basically did. I'm not a morning person, neither are my goats, but it's that time of year where I've got to start shifting the milking time a lot earlier. We are also making changes to our herd structure, and I'd like to talk to you about that today. Every other day we feed alfalfa hay. The girls love it, basically just as much as they like animal crackers, so I'm gonna haul this out there.
I don't have it yet. I'm just setting up the camera. Good morning.
Are you able to leave this here until I come back with the hay? Don't touch it.
You ready to get milk so we can let them out? So we've got two babies here over by the water trough. Jupiter and Alara. These are Talia's babies.
These guys are only about 10 days old, and they're not old enough for the kids share yet.
Their mama's udder does fill up more than they can consume. So I have been milking her every day since they were born. But it's a little dark down at this end of the barn. Hello. These babies are Elpis and Christine's.
They are just over 2 weeks old, and that's generally when we start our kids share. And what that means is we will separate mom and baby for 12 hours at a time. For us, it's easier to have them separated overnight and then milk in the morning. And during that time that they're separated, mama's udder fills up and we get to share the milk with the babies. So we take half and the babies consume half. The reason that we wait for 2 weeks old is because that's right around the time that their rumen starts functioning. So they're gonna start eating hay and things, and they can essentially afford metabolically to give up some of the milk or to share some of the milk. So these girls are not used to being fed grain this early in the morning and subsequently being milked this early in the morning, and so the change in routine is going to be a little bit rough, but when food is involved, they adjust pretty quickly. When it's warm enough out and we start to get into springtime season and worm season, I like to feed my goats with this BioWorma natural dewormer. I'm basically running out of this particular bucket. I've got another one inside, but this will be enough for today. But what this is, it's a natural fungus. Maybe I should go inside and get the other one, because that was barely anything. This one is a little more concentrated. It's a lot more concentrated, so the bucket is smaller. 0.1 ounce per 100 pounds per day, so very little. But what this does, it's got a fungus in it that doesn't hurt the goat at all. It actually goes right through the goat. And when the goat poops, it poops this out along with any kind of worm eggs that might be on board. And the fungus attacks those larvae and it breaks the pest life cycle, which is great. That molasses that I added to the feed, I added that just so that the BioWormer will stick. So this is about
4 or 5 hours earlier than I normally milk. So my girls that don't have babies on them, so they're not participating in the kids share, they are used to filling up a little bit longer than they filled up since this last milking. So they're not quite as full as they could be, but come this time tomorrow, they'll be right back to where they were. So this here is Mayhem. Mayhem was born here 3 years ago. She's out of our Margie line, and that is one of the things that I really wanted to talk about with you today. Was I am culling most of my Margie line. Actually, all of them sold. Every one of them that I listed sold to one family, so they're going to one farm in about a week. So that was Mayhem. And this is her daughter, Boba. Boba is part of that cull. Both girls are going to be going to their new home in milk, so we are continuing to milk them. Boba here, she's actually been in milk since she kidded last, which I think was April of last year. And she has been, for a first freshener, she has really been holding this extended lactation very, very well, which makes sense. Her Grand Dam Margie, that's one of her strong suits, is being able to hold a high level of milk capacity for a really long time. So these are good goats. They really are. Why am I getting rid of them? Well, there's like one really big reason. Along with Boba and Mayhem, Tallulah and Holly are leaving the farm. And I had kept back Tallulah and Holly out of Margie last year because I really did need some more fall milkers. My Nigerian dwarfs are polyestrous, meaning that they go into heat all year round, and that is in contrast to my La Manchas. The La Manchas are seasonal breeders, so really, unless you are gonna take some like hormonal interventions, you're not gonna get milk, much milk, out of a La Mancha outside of the spring milking and, you know, kidding season. So with the Nigerian dwarfs, I can breed them in the summertime to kid in the fall, and then we have a fresh supply of fall milk because I like to milk year round. I like to have fresh milk all the time. When I kept back Holly and Tallulah, I had that in mind, but that was before I had the opportunity to purchase Nefarious. Nefarious is our blue cactus buckling that we had shipped in from Arizona. He's a very high quality goat with very high quality genetics. Two of our girls, Barely and Tempest, are bred to him right now. They're due to kid, one of them is due to kid this weekend. So I anticipate a high number of retentions out of those kiddings, and I just need to make space in my barn. So it's not that these goats are not good. They are. There's good, better, and best, and there's something better around the corner. So. You know the drill, ma'am. Come on. Okay, see here, Talia's twins are essentially favoring this one side. They are drinking a little bit out of this side, but not as much as the other side. So we've been milking, and I haven't quite yet busted out my caprolite milker, my electric milker. I have been thinking about it. It needs a good washing before I can use it, and especially if I'm going to be putting these babies away often, I'm gonna need it. I can really only comfortably milk by hand about 1 gallon a day, and then my bad arm starts to suffer. So we're gonna have to clean the caprolite and bust that out soon. She's got milk in there, she just needs to let it down. There it is. What you see me doing here, jiggling her around, I'm just trying to encourage the milk that I can feel is still in her udder to come down and out, just massaging the udder. She doesn't need it as much as Elpis does. Elpis really likes to hang on to her milk real hard. She probably will get on the stand next. So my goal with Talia is basically to get as much as I can out of this side that they're not favoring, kind of even her up a little bit. There, that looks good. Come on, girl.
Christine here. She's very easy to milk. Her biggest flaw is that she does leak. So when she lays down and she's super full, she leaks all over her belly here, and so it can be sticky and wet and gross, and sometimes as I'm cleaning her, it just starts streaming out. But it looks like she's not going to do that today, which is good. I don't exactly want her to do that. Don't Kit. I can feel her starting to shift her weight towards me. Can you see that? So what I do is I just shift my weight back in towards them. It kind of forces them to put their weight on that foot that's furthest from me. So they're a lot less likely to kick with it. I only have to really manage this leg here. She really doesn't kick. Her worst thing is leaning real hard and then having to catch her balance. Can you see her doing that? Ma'am, she's so good to milk except for the leaning, and she's obviously not small. Okay, I'm not done milking. I'm just going to save the milk that's in here so we don't lose it. I have hobbles that I use with most of the goats. I don't use them with Talia because I don't need to, and with Christine I don't like to because Christine was abused in her last home, and I'd like her to feel as safe and in control as possible. And when she's comfortable, obviously that's nicer for her, but it also helps her milk out better. She has a history of really holding on to her milk real hard, but she's been real good about that this year. They do still, no matter what you do, hold a little bit back for their babies, and that is completely fine. Baby will get that out. Elpis is ready. You're next, ma'am. Oh. So here's Elpis's full udder, 2 weeks post-kidding. Her udder, it's a little bit weird and blocky looking to me. I don't know what to think of it. She does tend to get a little bit of edema in her udder. It was worse her first kidding. This one is not as bad, and she is milking better than she did last year as far as letting all the milk out. But goodness, it's like a rock. See, as full as she is, I still am having to like massage to get it to come from here down into the teat where I can milk it out. With the machine can be on and I can be massaging and she'll milk out a lot faster. This is more work. Sometimes the machine feels like more work, but this is when I know the machine is not more work when it comes to Elpis. I think she's over it. That's one of the issues about when they take forever to milk out, is sometimes they're done with their breakfast before you're done milking them out, but that's okay. Her kids will get what I was unable to, and I will probably wait on milking Elpis like this, like letting her fill up and milking her out until I can get my machine ready to go. But this is one of those things where when you're trying to develop like a homestead type animal, this goat is not awesome for your average homesteader. I want to be able to create goats that have nice teats, nice capacity, and a great ability for hand milking. Elpis really does not have that. She's a pain in the butt to milk. She is out of Christine, who is one of the easiest to milk, and so this difficulty likely comes from her sire. So hopefully we're able to breed that out with Havoc. I do have mini does out of Elpis from last year. They won't freshen until next year, but hopefully we can fix this because I don't really like it. I never thought I'd say that, but I love you, Elpis. I do. She's like, I don't love you, ma'am.
So I keep this bucket right here, because they'll take this as an opportunity to escape. Are you ready? Oh, I probably did not get that on camera. You tried to jump, ma'am. Go that way. Go that way. Good girl. Looks like Elpis now has triplets again. One of those isn't yours. Christine. It looks like she's adopted her sister. I mean, Elpis probably has enough milk left over for all three of them. So I guess that's fine. She's like, hang on. Look, your mama is wondering what happened. Come here, this one's your mama. Right there. There you go. See how big she is already? She's 2 weeks old and a mini. How are you guys doing? You guys look cozy. So our next batch of kids is going to be coming out of Barely here. One with the horns. Not Clover, not quite. Barely is the one who's pregnant with nefarious babies. So is Tempest here. Tempest is due the 12th of March. And then she's due the 11th, but she's got standard La Manchas. So I've sold some goats, assuming that I'm going to have goats to replace them. That isn't necessarily the best call, counting your chickens before they hatch. But the reason that I'm comfortable doing that is I can't use those kids this fall for winter milk anyway. I do have Stormy here, who is going to be bred for her first time in around July. I'm going to be taking Christine into an extended lactation, and this is Margie here. Margie is also staying, and she's also going to be bred in July to have fall babies. So we'll have at least a few girls in milk this fall. That's what we had this past year. All I really need for milk is about a ½ gallon a day. I can get away with a ½ gallon a day for our fresh drinking and a little bit of making like fresh cheeses and things, farmers cheeses. Springtime really is when we do the hard cheese making and a lot of things like kefir and yogurts. So we'll be all right regardless. Barely is looking large. She gave us triplets last time. She's probably gonna at least give us that this time. We hope for one doe in the very least, but more than one would not make me sad. And then the last time that Tempest had babies, she had twins. So we'll see. Yes, we see you too, Clover. Clover might have twins too. That's my thinking. Your babies were trying to drink. Poor things. So I made a mess, but this is the milk that we got today. A gallon plus a little bit. These girls are not at their peak lactation right now. The La Manchas aren't. So this is gonna get better over time, and it very likely will get better when I pull out the machine because I'll be able to get more out of Elpis. And speaking of cheese season, I have made the first cheese of the season. This is actually one of 6. This was a 6-pound Colby that I made a couple days ago. I have to wait 4 to 6 weeks for it to age before we can give it a taste test. And at that point, that's when I'm gonna be making my hard cheese videos. So stick around.